1989. A Soviet listening post recorded something strange. It was labeled atmospheric noise and archived away. Decades later, Alaskan researchers decoded a strange pulse. They compared that pulse to old Soviet recordings. The waveforms matched down to tiny spikes and troughs. They weren't just similar, they were exactly identical. Two pulses arrived from separate continents and independent sources. That single line of evidence unnerves the team. Standard causes didn't fit the timing or strength. They checked weather records, ship movements, and seismic logs. No storm, no explosion, no known quake matched. The Siberian pulse came on a quiet November night. The Alaskan pulse arrived decades later, but matched exactly. Researchers reran recordings through improved filters and instruments. They cross-checked clocks, cable delays, and system biases. All hardware explanations failed to account for the match. International teams now share data and compare notes. They hunt satellite tracks and station logs. Late-night calls connect engineers across time zones. Funding boards and skeptics both start paying attention. Now curiosity turns toward an actual mystery to solve. If independent detectors record the same signature, chance drops. It means something deliberate, or unknown physics, or both. You stop treating background noise as harmless. Every ignored blip becomes potential evidence worth chasing. The next matched pulse could already be sitting in files. A 20-second blackout stopped everything up there. It happened on February 11, 1989, near Yakutia. The area was remote and mostly uninhabited then. Only 2 geologists were working alone at that time. They sent a report afterward, short and strange. They said a triangular flash appeared under the snow. The light pulsed 3 times and then vanished. They said the flash came from just beneath the snow. Temperature readouts spiked for a few strange seconds. Comms went dead during the blackout window. They wrote Soviet officials sealed that report, quietly and fast. Officials offered no public statement and locked the file. Both geologists vanished soon after filing that note. Search teams found no trace, and the camp empty. Locals told hush stories later, but details stayed vague. Years later, documents hint at cover-up and confusion. No clear explanation ever reached the public domain. Was it a natural event or something else? We still rely on fragments and eyewitness memory now. 20 seconds, 2 men, and a triangle under snow. The Soviet files stayed closed for decades afterward. This incident became a small, strange, cold legend. Even today, it makes investigators scratch their heads. We may never get the whole truth. But the report is still out there somewhere.
12,000 years ago, the North Pole wasn't here. We connected an Alaskan coordinate to Siberia. The line pointed to the old magnetic north. That was during a geomagnetic shift. Glaciers covered both Alaska and Siberia then. So the line crosses Ice Age landscapes, which means the grid predates modern civilization. Cities and states did not exist yet. Whatever built it did so long ago. We mapped the line out of curiosity. Every site along it showed anomalies beneath ice, stone foundations in places that shouldn't have them. No matching tool marks to known ancient tech. Some stones align with solar events and poles. Others point exactly to the old magnetic north. It looks planned across vast distances. This does not look like random placement, so who had that knowledge back then? Who could measure Earth magnetism across continents? Or who preserved maps through the ice? Either way, this forces a rethink of prehistory. We keep following the grid to find answers. Every new dig reveals strange materials and alignments. Artifacts don't fit our timelines. Radiocarbon dates sometimes conflict with structure placement. That makes the story messier and more urgent. We need better models and open minds, and the map keeps asking questions. Satellite scans found a square under 900 meters of ice. It sits near Greenland's east coast. At first, we thought it was noise, but the outline was a perfect geometric square. 2 nodes had already been mapped. Both were thousands of kilometers apart. Together, they made no sense. Triangles need 3 points to exist. We started combing satellite archives. Patterns emerged across the northern sky. They matched a strict geometric grid. It was not random at all. 3 nodes formed a nearly perfect triangle. 1 point was missing until now. That third point is under the ice. 900 meters of ice cover it. We ran spectral scans and saw structure. Signal reflections hinted at hollow chambers. Geometry suggested purpose, not simple geology. It aligned with 2 mapped nodes. The triangle spanned half the northern hemisphere, a precise network, strangely old. It was slowly waking up now. Nobody knew what would happen next. Planes were diverted across the far north. Research teams mobilized within a few days. Field crews drilled through layers of ice. They finally reached a dark cavity inside. The instruments recorded slow harmonic tones there. No natural process makes that pattern. The network had shape and steady rhythm. It was waiting for something to happen. 3 points completed the silent, tuned geometry. Now the third point was finally found. Now the grid could start to speak.
All sonar from the last hour erased. This happened on the U.S. icebreaker Aurora. It happened in early 2024 on patrol. They approach coordinates off Greenland's coast. The crew hears a soft humming through the hull. It feels like a distant engine underfoot. At 02:14 a.m., the Z-door in Bielefeld activates. The ship's sonar registers a massive hollow cavity. It sits under the ice directly below them. Then the engines cut out without warning. Every light dies across the entire vessel. For 19 seconds, the ship drifts in silence. There are no engines, fans, or radio static. People check systems as panels reboot slowly. When power returns, the crew checks the recordings. The last hour of sonar is suddenly gone. Every file is wiped clean from the hour. No explanation is found in any log. They log the event as an anomaly report, but the same timestamp appears somewhere else. Bielefeld reports the Z-door activation at 02:14. No technical link is found between the systems. Satellite channels report nothing unusual that night. Compasses show slight, inexplicable magnetic deviation nearby. Nobody gets a clear answer before departing. The crew leaves with a low, growing unease. They can't explain the hollow under the ice, and they can't recover what was erased either. 19 seconds change the logbook and the story.
3 pyramids share one strange heartbeat. Thermal scans show Greenland heating from below. The warmth comes as a slow, steady pulse. Denali shows the exact same pulse pattern. Every waveform lines up when you compare them. We ran checks on instruments and satellites. All independent teams returned the same result. Noise and weather were ruled out quickly. Geothermal activity couldn't explain the synchronized timing. That leaves a controlled source under the ice. This is neither a ruin nor a random hotspot. It reads like an engineered system maintained deliberately. 3 structures send 3 synchronized signals across regions. One pattern points to a single architect. No records mention any builder at those sites. Satellites timestamp each pulse to the second. Subsurface probes log identical heat depth profiles. The math fits a connected network, not random chance. If linked, the sites communicate or share energy. That raises a hard question about intent. We only have 3 blunt questions right now. Who built it? Why here? And when? Answering them changes everything for science. If it's tech, It rewrites ancient timelines. If it's natural, we misread the whole system. Either option forces a global reevaluation. Teams are gearing up for deeper surveys now. Drills and probes will try to map the source. But ice is thick and access is limited. Field ops will take months, maybe years. Meanwhile, the heat keeps pulsing on schedule. Fact: the hum isn't a sound. Mathematicians checked it last year. They expected a simple tone. It turned out to be a carrier wave, a base layer meant to carry data. But who is it sending to, or what is listening on the other end? After months, they decoded a repeating pattern. The pattern is a three-step loop. It maps to activation, calibration, then initialization. Only 2 loops have ever triggered. We heard those 2 loops so far. Each felt like a reset. Phones and meters blinked during the signals. Pets refused to go out the doors. Birds left their nests in the morning. People woke covered in static. No one had any clear idea why. The 3rd loop hasn't started yet. That is the worrying part. If it runs, something initializes. No one knows what initializes. We have time to prepare. Or maybe that time is already passing. Signals keep looping in the background. We listen every night now. Phones record, sensors log everything. Mathematicians argue about the pattern's meaning. Some say it's a handshake. Some say it's a boot sequence. Others worry it's a kill switch. For now, the hum keeps playing. We can't stop hearing it now, and we're waiting for the 3rd loop. Nobody wants what comes next. A single patch of Greenland is melting 4 times faster. That happened over the last 6 years. Scientists noticed it on satellite images. Right above it sits an odd pattern. The melt forms a near-perfect diamond shape. Nature rarely makes straight edges like that. So everyone asked why this one spot melted. First, the heat was higher than models predicted. Second, warm ocean water rushed under the ice. Third, wind patterns concentrated heat in that area. Also, dark soot and algae made the surface darker. Meltwater pooled into shallow basins. Those basins warmed faster than surrounding snow. Pressure and water then sped the flow. That loop made melting feed itself locally. Models didn't capture this feedback well, so projections underestimated local melt rates. A diamond-shaped melt looks like a signal, but it's not magic or design. The real danger is scale and speed. Small hotspots can widen fast. That adds to global sea level rise. It also raises the odds of surprises elsewhere. So what do scientists do next? They fly drones over the melt zone. They put sensors in the snow and ice. They update models with new feedbacks. They watch the ocean currents closely now. But the strongest tool is cutting emissions. Less greenhouse gas means fewer surprises. This diamond will keep teaching us. If we listen, we can act faster. If we don't, the next surprise is closer. 3 hidden nodes could change everything overnight. A leaked Navy memo confirms their worst fear. If all 3 nodes activate at once, their combined energy could trigger a global spike. It would not destroy infrastructure outright, but it would transform how electricity behaves. Grid systems would act differently for weeks. Satellites would reboot in unpredictable patterns. Communications would lag or reroute without warning. The memo names something stirring beneath the Arctic Circle. It calls this a phase we don't understand. Scientists have theories, but none agree yet. Some think it's a natural cycle. Others suspect human tech amplified an existing signal. The memo warns of synchronized activation risk. Commanders are planning contingencies around timing windows. They can't predict the start trigger yet. Public notice would cause panic and chaos. So the memo stayed internal for now. If the nodes fire together, change is inevitable. Not the end, but a new electrical reality. Who or what is pushing this phase? We still don't know its motive or origin, but the Arctic is waking differently now, and the Navy wants everyone ready. Officials are quietly testing fail-safes now. This will change how nations manage power forever.
Here's one old Arctic warning. It came long before satellites existed, before governments drew maps up north. The Yup'ik people told this story. They listened to ice and mountain sounds. They said the mountains sometimes hum. When that hum started, the ice cities stirred. Those cities lay under cold, clear ice. They were ruins of a vanished people. 3 structures kept quiet under the ice. The Yup'ik called them places to hold memory. They said these places kept things safe. Safe during a long, long night. A memory was stored there, they believed. What memory? Nobody can say for sure. No legend explains what the memory held. Maybe names, maybe maps, maybe songs, maybe warnings about storms or waves, or maybe it held something they didn't say. The story changed the way they acted. When mountains hummed, they watched the ice. They moved camps. They kept fires small. They listened more than they spoke. That caution kept families alive longer. Then, explorers came with metal and maps. Scientists drilled and took ice samples. Tales like this became museum labels. But elders still tell the warning tonight. They keep the story alive with small gestures. A child learns to listen when snow groans. A hunter checks his path twice now. No one claims to know every secret, but the warning changes how people live. When the mountains hum, they move with care. Tutiv changed everything for one strange reason. For the first time in 26,000 years, 3 sites aligned. A perfect line ran from Polaris to Earth's core. Then the 3 sites pulsed together at once. They pulsed for exactly 11 seconds, no more. Most people felt nothing and kept living. News feeds scrolled with the usual nonsense. But back rooms and secure labs lit up. Satellites logged spikes and radars flagged odd returns. Military and science channels filled with urgent messages. Governments classified data and opened emergency protocols. Old programs were reactivated and cold files resurfaced. A Geneva room became a fast command center. Leaders argued about warning the public or staying silent. They split between truth and preventing mass panic. In the end, secrecy won, and files were hidden. A few scientists vanished from public view. Some left the country under new names. Journalists later chased leaks and anonymous tips. Most reports were dismissed as censor errors or spam. No one could explain why Polaris lined up like that. What matters is who moved first during those 11 seconds, and what small choices shaped the rest of history. If you ever find a forgotten file labeled Polar, remember, governments keep silence to stop panic, not to hide everything. That silence lasted far longer than the pulse.
We found a code no one expected. Independent researchers reconstructed part of the pulse. At first, it looked like random noise. Then, the pattern hit like a clue. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. It's the Fibonacci sequence in electric beats. Fibonacci shows up in shells and galaxies. It shows up in our DNA too. So this signal feels deliberate. Someone used math to talk. Numbers don't need language to travel. Pi or Fibonacci works anywhere. That makes math a universal handshake. If this was meant as a hello, then the sender expected someone to notice. That changes everything we assume. Teams are racing to decode more. Some groups report the sequence continues. Others hit dead ends, stalled and silent. Governments want the raw files. Publishers argue over releasing the data. We don't know who sent it. We don't know why they sent it. But the math is undeniable proof. One number never changed. It was 3. 3 silent structures on an empty plane. Scientists argued for years about their purpose. Some said they were an ancient network. Others said they were a planetary sensor. A few whispered memory archive. All guesses felt like pulling on strings. No one had proof for any theory. Then, the readings changed overnight. A pulse moved through the desert sand. Instruments woke slowly and listed names. Old error logs cleared themselves in stages. Signals synchronized across all 3 towers. Teams rushed in with startled eyes. They found no damage to the shells. There were no burn marks or meteor impacts. Power grids inside were cold, not dead. Readings matched a long sleep pattern. It showed no signs of failure or collapse. There were no decay patterns in Soyuz. Data hinted at intentional shutdown sequences. Someone or something had flipped switches. The software archived billions of tiny events, journeys, weather logs, voice fragments, timestamps. The archive felt personal and planetary at once. Memory and mechanism braided into one thing. It raised a hard question for humans. Who decided to put them to sleep? Who held the key? They did not fail, collapse, or die. They had only gone dormant until now.
3 structures still hum beneath the grid. We don't know their names or owners. Some call them an ancient power network. Others say they are planetary sensors. A few insist they're a massive memory archive. Or they could be something we can't name. We scanned the ruins for signs of collapse. We found no broken cores or burned circuits. Instead, logs ran in low, steady cycles. Temperatures drifted and signals blinked like a heartbeat. That doesn't match collapse or failure. It matches dormancy, a deliberate long pause. Someone built a timer or a safeguard. They put systems to sleep, not to die. Years passed and the world changed above. Then something nudged the network awake. Signals smoothed and tiny motors whispered back to life. Our instruments picked up a new baseline. Cameras showed faint light along old conduits. If it's accidental, we got lucky. If it's deliberate, someone came back. Either way, the grid remembers more than we do. It keeps names, laws, and failures. We can listen and learn its history, or we can tinker and risk waking threats. This is not a wreck to salvage casually. It's a quiet machine with a memory. They did not fail, collapse, or die. They simply went dormant until now.
When the 2012 5 pulse was decoded, one phrase stood out. The third will open appeared on every monitor. It wasn't a riddle or a clue. It read like a command to something else. We thought the Black Pyramid in Alaska was unique. We were wrong by a long margin. It's one node of a much older machine, older than nations, older than cultures, older than civilization. There are 3 nodes, and all 3 are waking. They are not awake like we are. They are activating on their own timeline. The Hidden Archives calls them structures not meant to be found. They were built to return, not to hide. That flips everything we thought we knew. Maps and timelines suddenly matter in new ways. What we dug up is only a corner. The real machine sleeps beneath deserts, oceans, mountains. Each node remembers its role in waking the whole. We have to decide fast what we do. Do we try to stop it before activation completes? Or do we try to learn what it wants? Either way, someone will press the wrong button. Someone will think they can control something older, and then the third node will open for real. This is not comforting, and we are not ready. But it's moving, whether we act or not. Silence won't stop it from reaching full power. Tell others now and prepare, or leave.